Hari Om. Let's start with a prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the 9th chapter of Panchadashi of Vidyaranyas, and let's chant Sloka 24. Ashadhalora Vishwaso Ashadhalora Vishwaso Nodaharanamarhati Nodaharanamarhati Shraddhaloreva Sarvatra Shraddhaloreva Sarvatra Vaidikeshvadhikarataha Vaidikeshvadhikarataha. Genesis, those who do not have the Shraddha, so Ashraddhaloho, one who is devoid of the faith, Shraddha. Shraddha is Shastrasya Guruvakyasya Satya Buddhyavadarana. So the faith that the scripture is saying right, and interpretation of the scripture by the teacher is also right. Satya Buddhya, that is truth. That understanding is Shraddha. And Shraddhalo, so one who doesn't have the Shraddha, and Avishwasaha, one who does not have the commitment to follow the instructions as laid down by the scriptures and the teacher. So that's called Avishwasaha. Udaharanam Naharati. They are not fit as an examples for investigation of the nature of the reality, because they don't have the faith in the scriptures. You cannot go by objective sciences, because the objective sciences themselves depend upon the subject who is investigating, and without the presence of the subject, objective knowledge cannot be established. Whereas the existence of the subject, and the subject is a conscious entity, is independent of any objective knowledge. So therefore, one is dependent, another is independent. This is swatantram, this is other one aswatantram, and you cannot depend on the objective knowledge to validate the subject. For that, Vedanta alone becomes a pramana, or a means of knowledge. For that which cannot be objectified, or which cannot be proved through any data, and therefore I should have clear Shraddha in order to accept as a working hypothesis for me to proceed to investigate. And that's what Shraddha is. So Ashraddha and also Vishwasam. Vishwasam means a committed confirmation with a commitment to proceed in the path. And if you don't have those two, you cannot go by that. So those people who do not have that will not be able to recognize that Aham Brahmasmi. So that's what essentially the obstacle also for realization. Therefore Ashraddha and Avishwasam. And Shraddhalo eva sarvatra Vaidikeshvadhikarataha. So even Vaidikeshu, even for study of the Vedantas, or even for rituals also, Vaidikeshu means even performing rituals also, one should have the Shraddha, and one should follow the discipline of what to do, what, in what sequence, all that has to be done. And if you don't have that Shraddha, then you cannot get what you want. And only those Shraddhalor eva, Shraddhalaha eva, Sarvatra, everywhere, is Adhikarataha, they are qualified. And same thing Krishna said in the 18th chapter, in that you should not teach Gita to those who do not have the Shraddha, because it's useless. So, idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadasana na cha susrushave vachyam na cha mam yobhyasuyati. So, idam idam means this Gitopadesham, this Gita Shastram, kadachana never, says never, essentially teach bhaktayam, essentially vachyam na, do not teach this to, never teach. In fact, Krishna says kadachana means never teach this to those who do not have that na tapaskaya, the one who does not have the discipline, the internal discipline. To those who do not have it, don't teach them. Na bhaktaya, those who do not have the devotion towards me. Who is me? That who is pervades everything as substantive for the whole universe. Gatir bhakta prabhu sakshi. He says, I am gatihi, I am the goal. Bhakta, gatir bhakta prabhu, I am the Lord of the entire universe. And those who do not have that bhakti towards me also. So, nachamam yobhyasuyati, who do not have the abhyasuyati, who do not look at me who looks at me in a wrong way, do not teach me, to teach them this Gita Shastram. So therefore, even Krishna emphasizes Shraddha is important, and therefore he reinforces that in the 18th chapter again in 71 sloka, that is Shraddha van anasuyascha srunam yadapi yo naraha sopi muktaha subhan lokan prapdiyan punya karmanat. So only those who have Shraddha and who doesn't have Asuya, Anasuya means who do not have the Asuya, right? The great lady is also Anasuya. Anasuya is the one who does not have Suya. That means he is contented by herself or by itself or whatever, self-contented is the one does not have any Asuya for anything else, because he is already full. Therefore, and Punya Karmaka, the one who have done meritorious actions, they are eligible for the liberation also. That's what Krishna says. And therefore, Shraddha becomes important for anything. So he is in the Brahma Vidya. Now we'll stand this, sloka 25, or the verse 25. Sukrda aptopadesena parokshajnana mudbhavet Vishnumurtyupadese Vishnumurtyupadeso hi na mimamsam apachate. Together, Sakruda aptoptasena parokshajnana mudbhavet Vishnumurtya upadesahi mimamsam apechate. Sakrut, only by the proper teaching, apta upadesena, by the instruction by the teacher, or the one who is aptaha, dependable one. So Sukrut apta upadesena parokshajnanam udbhavet, the indirect knowledge arises in the mind. So, for example, I don't know Vishnu, I cannot see Vishnu, therefore it's not directly perceptible. Therefore, scripture teaches and Puranas teaches, and the teacher who is interpreting and explaining to me what is the nature of Vishnu, then I have understood even though I have not seen Vishnu. That's called Paroksha Jnanam, indirect knowledge of the nature of Vishnu. And therefore Vishnumurti Upadesha, the teaching of the nature of Vishnu by Apta Vakyam, by the dependable person, is enough for me to proceed further for the Upasana. So if the teacher says this is the way to do, or this is how Vishnu looks like, that is enough for me to proceed further for the Upasana. This is true for any ritual. I don't need to inquire the nature of the ritual, is it this way or that way, all that Mimamsa means inquiring into the right methodology. I don't Tatparyam, Mimamsa is Tatparyam, what is the essence of it? I don't need to inquire, because I should have enough faith that the teacher or the Paurohit says, do this way, then I will do that. Whether it's a good or bad, because he says so, my goal is towards Vishnu Upasana, I will reach that state. That's what is the statement. So, Mimamsa, na Mimamsam apekshate. I don't need to inquire into whether this is correct way or the other way is correct way. All those Mimamsa, I don't need to do that. If the teacher says, you do this way, because of the faith in the teacher, and because I understood what is the goal, in spite of whatever the means are, I will reach that goal itself. That's what he says here. We'll do 26. Karmopaste vicharyete, karmopaste vicharyete, anushtheya vinirnayat, anushtheya virnayat, bahushakha viprakirnam, nirnetum kaha prabhurnaraha, nirnetum kaha prabhurnaraha. Together, karmopasti vicharyete, anushtheya vinirnayat, bahushaka viprakirnam, nirnetum kaha prabhurnaraha. So, karma upaste vicharyete. So, anushtayam for any ritual that we are doing, because we perform so many types of rituals, avinirnayat, it's not clearly known what exactly to be done, but karma upaste, the ritual exactly vicharyate, if we really try to inquire it, it's almost bahushaka. There are rituals are described in many ways by different textbooks, and therefore what is the real correct way and all that becomes very difficult to find out. So nirnetum prabhum, he says, who is going to determine all that, looking at all the shastras available, and that too is essentially karma upaste vicharyeti. See, because bahushaka viprakirnam, so the rituals are being described by many branches of the upasana, aspects are being defined by many shakas. Yajushaka is different, and the Samaveda people are different, and so many varieties of ways of defining the way the ritual is done, including simple upakarma. Yajushaka may be different, and the Samaveda people follow differently. So who is going to sit down and inquire, this is right or that is right, and so on. So therefore, it says, kaha prabhur naraha, which human being is going to inquire nirnetum, who is going to determine what is right here. You just follow your teacher and the mission gets accomplished. So Shraddha on the teacher who is going to teach, and on the Paurohit who is going to tell that you do this way. Whether Paurohit is right or wrong, we are not going to inquire, but we follow the Paurohit because we want to do certain things with a goal in mind, and I will reach the goal even if the procedure is wrong. That's what essentially emphasis of the faith in the ritual itself. So this aspect is going to discuss in more in a few slokas here. Nirnitortha kalpasutraihi Nirnitortha kalpasutraihi Graditastavata Gradivastavatastikah Graditastavatastikas Vicharamantarenapi Sektonushtatu manjasa. So Nirnitaha Arthaha, the final verdict of how one should do this ritual. So final verdict relating to the ritual. Kalpasutraihi, in the Kalpasutra, Gratitaha is compiled. So what is the final one? Because there are different methods are being prescribed by different shakhas. So what is the right method? So right method is, to discover what is the right method, you have to go to Kalpasutra. In the Kalpasutra, they have itemized all that and discussed what is the best way of doing it. So essentially, Tavat Astikaha, the one who has a faith in those things, Vicharam Antarena, by the end of all inquiring, Vichara means this is by the what is the right way of doing it, Antarena, that is by inquiring into it, Api, Anjasa, easily, Anushtatum Sektum, one can undertake Anushtanam. Without understanding also one can take that. Whatever with the faith that the Paurohit, the one who has understood the methodology and come up with already a methodology and following it is sufficient for performing the upasana without having to go through Kalpasutras and determine what is the best way of all so many ways and all that, and then doing it. Success, the result is the same. So, Tomri 8 we go. Upastinam anushtanam Arshagandheshu varnitam Vicharakshamamamartyascha Tasrutvopasate guroho Tatsrutvopasate guroho. So upastinam anushtanam arshagandheshu varnitam vicharakshamamamartyascha tatsrutvopasate guroho. So arshagandheshu, this is the same thought is being explained more. Arshagandheshu, in the Arsha means Rishis, Gandheshu, the books of that's called Arsham. Arsham means that which is of the coming from the Rishis. Arshagandheshu, in the books compiled by the Rishis, great Rishis, Upastanam, of different upasanas, different rituals. Upasana means those that meditation, dhyanas, different types of meditations. Anushtanam varnitam. So how to do this have been described by the great sages of the yore. Vichara makshamam, one who is the akshamaha, the one who is not capable of inquiring into this, one who doesn't have the capacity to inquire into what the rishis have described. Matsyaha tat cha guroho srutva upasate. So for those people who have no capacity to go into the Arsha Grandhas, the texts that are written by the great sages, for what should they have to do? So they cannot go and study. Most of the people don't have even Sanskrit knowledge. So how are we going to determine what is the right way of doing it? So for that, he says, you do not have to do it. Those who cannot do it, they just follow the teacher's instructions. So therefore, the tatsrutvo upasato guroho. So from the teacher, tatcha, even that upasana, srutva, having heard, upasate, can perform the ritual. So if I don't know what is the right way of doing it, I don't have the capacity to go into the textbooks, and I don't have the knowledge also to do it, then what is the right way? Only right way is follow your guru, follow your teacher and do it, and you get the same result even after going through all the process. So essentially, the faith that what the teacher says is right, so that faith will take you, because it is the faith that is Shraddha is required in the Upasana. Now, what has all this to do with the Aham Brahmasmi? That's what he is going to do in terms of the Aham Brahmasmi Upasana is going to be, is leading to that. We'll do 29. Veda Vakyani Nirnetum Veda Vakyani Nirnetum Icchan Mimam Sadam Janaha Icchan Mimam Sadam Janaha Aptopadesa Matrena Kyanushtanam tu sambhavet. So essentially it says Veda Vakyani, so Nirnitum Icchan. So in order to inquire whether the essence of the Veda Vakyas, means the statements of the Vedas, Janaha, a seeker, Mimamsatam, the inquiry to conduct what is right and what is wrong, what is the best way of doing it, and so on. That's called inquiry. Inquiry of Vedanta is Vichara. That's called Mimamsa. That means what is the Tatparyam, what is the essence of this. But Anushtanantu, for understanding the Upasana, etc., Apta Upadesa Matrena, instruction by the teacher is sufficient. He is Sambhavet. It's possible just by the instruction by the teacher without doing all that inquiry. So therefore, even Vedanta Vakyeshu, the statements of the Vedas, I don't need to study Vedanta, but if I have full faith in the teacher who has studied Vedanta and instructs me this is what you have to do, then that is sufficient for me to do. I don't need to go into all of the Mimamsa details to arrive at the solution to the problem. And therefore, Upasana is what? Upasana is action involved. Therefore, action, the knowledge will give you how to do the action. So, action still has to be done. And the teacher can tell you the same thing of what needs to be done. So, that's the instructions, whether I study myself or by the teacher. But what is to be done with the Shraddha is that what I am doing will arrive at the result that I wanted. That Shraddha has to be there even for any ritual that you are performing. If you do mechanically that ritual, then you won't get the result. So to get the result of what you want through a Upasana for a ritualistic person also, he has to follow the rules and regulations as laid down or as instructed by the teacher. And now we are going to talk about the limitations of the words of the teacher. For the case of Brahma Tattvam, let's say. So here I had to tell one story, because there is one great lady who was so much devoted to Lord Krishna, and she was chanting every day slokas on Krishna, and by mistake she was chanting that I depend on you. You depend on me. She was although giving instructions in opposite way. Therefore, I am devoted to you, so you are devoted to me. That's what she was saying without knowing the meaning. But she wants to know what is this. She depends on him. So he is the Lord. I am the disciple and a bhakta, and you are the Lord. That was what her meaning is, her intention is. But because of not knowing the language, she was chanting the other way around, and that's what recently we saw in the music also. But anyway, so she was chanting wrong way, And one Pandit came to that house and heard her statements and said, Amma, you are doing apacharam. Apacharam means you are committing great sin because you are saying that Lord is your servant, and you are, instead of you are saying I am the servant of the Lord. So you are essentially saying Lord is your servant rather than you are his servant. So he corrected her how to sing, how to say properly, and very happy that I have done a great job, and went to the next place. But this lady started worrying about, oh my God, for years and years I have been chanting like this and thinking that I am your servant and you are the Lord, but I am chanting other way around, saying that you are servant and I am the Lord. That's what I have been chanting. What a sin I have committed. So she started repenting and repenting about the past way she has described. And Krishna saw this and felt sorry for her, and he really got mad with that Sanskrit scholar who corrected her, and he gave left and right to him. Go back to her, tell her that what she was chanting was the right way and what you said was wrong, so that she will be happy, I am happy, and you unnecessarily cause misery to her. So he sent that Sanskrit Pandit back to her to tell her that what she was doing was indeed correct and he made a mistake. And therefore, what you have, believe in that and do it even if it is the wrong way. So this apavitram pavitrova. So even apavitram also become a pavitram because of the faith in this ritual. And that's exactly what. Recently we had a lot of medical music students coming in our house, and they were chanting the Tyagaraja Kirtana, which is the Tyagaraja, whether you are a Vishnu or you are Lord Shiva or you are Brahma. That was the original statement is. So instead of saying that, they distorted the Sahityam and say, instead of whether I am Vishnu or I am Shiva or I am the Brahma, and that's how they are change the words without knowing it. And when we told them, apparently the teacher who taught them said, no, this is the way to sing, and the long thing continued. But as long as they understand it, perhaps it's okay, I guess. That's what is here is saying here. So in the limitation of Aptavakyam, he is going to do in number 30. Brahma sakshat krutisvevam Brahma sakshat krutisvevam Vicharena vinandrunam Aptopadesa matrena na sambhavati krutrachit together. Brahma sakshat krutisvevam Vicharena vinasrunam Aptopadesa matrena na sambhavati kutrachit. So, but here, in the case of Vedanta, Vedanta is not really a upasana. It is a knowledge. So, knowledge is not a ritual, an action. So, action will not give you a knowledge. So, say, na karmana na prajaya dhane na tyage naike amritatvamanasahu. So, na karma includes both the manasika karma as well as the sharirika karma as well as the manasika karma. Manasika karma is called upasana, and therefore the action is not an action oriented, it's not action given, because that's what essentially the pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamayanascha krutakrutena. By action I cannot get it. That's what the examination of the procedure that suggested. Therefore, tad vijnanartham sagurum eva avigached. So it is a vidya that is required, and the knowledge is not by action. Action is by effort. It is Purusha Tantram. And vidya is not a Purusha Tantram. I may do action in terms of going to a class or sitting there and then looking at and writing notes, and all that is action. But the knowledge that is not depend on me. It depends upon the teacher and the Shastras. So therefore, it's not a Vastu Tantram. It is not a Purusha Tantram, but it is a Vastu Tantram. Vastu Tantram means it is not, I cannot control knowledge. Oh, knowledge now come, I cannot say it. It has to come by I have to tune my mind, prepare my mind in the direction so that the goddess Saraswati can come. She will come only if there is a conducive mind. So mind is conducive to reach that particular knowledge. So for chemistry knowledge, I had to tune my mind in the direction of the chemistry so that the goddess Saraswati of chemistry can come down. I cannot ask her or force her to come down. I have no way to doing it. But I can do is prepare my mind conducive for her to come down. And the same way, for any knowledge, so is Atma Vidya also. Guru will teach. So I should have the faith that what Guru is teaching is truth. That Shraddha is required. But that is not enough. What is enough? The teachment of Guru is not enough, because I have to have one, faith in the teacher, and also I have to do inquire. That's why Srotavyaha, then Mantavyaha. Reflect on the teaching. Reflect on the teaching so that I do not have any doubt. So even Krishna, after whole Gita Upadesha, says, after this, have you understood? Has your delusion gone? And then only you are qualified to perform an action appropriately. So the Arjuna also answers that, yes, because of your prasada, because of your grace, all my doubts have been cleared. Now I know. Because Arjuna is not doing any action, he is only trying to understand what needs to be done. Says that exactly, says Brahma Sakshat Krutasvevam. So evam upasana, Brahma Sakshat Krutihi, direct experience of Brahman cannot be possible, because Vicharena Vina, without inquiring it, Apta Upadesam Matrena, by just instruction of how to do upasana like other rituals, this is not sufficient. Because this is a Vichara Tat Vijnasasva, therefore inquire into it. So yatova imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayam tabisham vishanti. So that is the definition provided. Then tat vijnasasva, therefore go and inquire what is that. What is that what? What is that from which the whole universe came, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back, inquire into that. So atato brahma jignasa, inquire into the nature of Brahman. So therefore, that Brahma Sakshat Krutis Sevam Vicharena Vina Nrunam, for the human beings or for seekers, Vicharena Vina, without the inquiry into that, you cannot get by Apta Atopadesa Matrena Sambhavati. Just by the instructions of the teacher, and following those particular instructions, you cannot get the Brahma Sakshatkaram. Brahma Sakshatkaram means, because Brahman cannot Sakshatkaram. It means appearance. Sakshatkaram means clear understanding. Brahman is infinite, cannot come in a particular form. This is the knowledge of that Aham Brahmasmi. That is the Brahma Sakshatkaram. So Aptopadesa Matrena na Sambhavati. And Kutrachitu. Essentially, that is inquiry is required in order to proceed with that. So what kind of inquiry, where inquiry is required, where Upadesa is required, is going to be clarified now. So here it says, without proper inquiry you cannot get, because this is a knowledge. So knowledge cannot be obtained by doing some action. So you have to go through Srotavyaha. You have to listen to the scriptures for a prolonged length of time, under a consistent prolonged length of time, under a Sampradaya teacher, and then only you can gain if your mind is purified enough. Then you can gain. So there is about even indirect knowledge also. And for Paroksha Jnanam, there is a lot more things also required, and therefore is going to clarify two parts in that. One is Paroksha Jnanam, then Aparoksha Jnanam, where faith itself will take you up to that point, and Aparoksha Jnanam where you need to inquire. So that's essentially just as in the 10th man Asti is important for removing the suffering of the people, because they are all crying where apparent. So the 10th man is not drowned, is there, it is right here, and that assurance is indirect knowledge, because they have not discovered the 10th man yet, but they know that there is a 10th man and is not drowned. So half of the suffering is gone, crying for that is gone. So essentially, where the Paroksha Jnanam and the Aparoksha Jnanam, these two aspects are going to be discussed, and what part is required. Verse 31. Paroksha Jnanam Ashraddha, Paroksha Jnanam Ashraddha, Pratibadhati Netarat, Pratibadhati Netarat, Avicharo Parokshasya, Avicharo Parokshasya, Jnanasya Pratibandhakaha, Jnanasya Pratibandhakaha, together, Paroksha Jnanam Ashraddha, Pratibadhati Netarat, Avicharo Parokshasya, Jnanasya Pratibandhakaha. So this is the reason for having a problem. So what is the problem? There are two types of obstacles, and there are two knowledge, as though two levels of knowledge. For each knowledge there is an obstacle. So Paroksha Jnanam Ashraddha Pratibadhnati na itarat. So netarat na itarat. So there is so Pratibadhnati Jnanam Ashraddha. Paroksha Jnanam Ashraddha. Ashraddha means not having a full faith in the pramana, in the scriptural statement. So pramana, the asambhavam. So therefore that cannot be. Why? Because the scripture says you are the whole thing. There is only Brahman. All other things is only superficial and not really real. And that's what the scripture says. Therefore, Paroksha Jnanam Ashraddha, and that lack of faith in the scriptural statement. Why there is a lack of faith? Because I am seeing plurality, and the scriptures is denying the reality to the plurality. I am transacting, I am taking the plurality is real, because the food I am eating is real, otherwise I won't eat food. And the garbage I won't eat, because that's a garbage, that's real. So transactionally, what is real is taken as though it's not really real from the point of Shastra. Therefore, Shastra is, Shraddha becomes very important, because Shastra says it is not real from the point of a higher ontological status. From the higher point, it says this is only apparent and not real. How can you say? Just like in the dream. In the dream you may be eating food there, and you need a dream food in order to quench the dream hunger. So outside food will not help you. In fact, you can have a scrumptious dinner, and because of the heavy dinner you feel you go to sleep. But in the sleep you can have a dream where in the dream you may dream that you are starving for many days, and even though the stomach is full in the waking state, in the dream state your stomach is empty, and it is empty for a long time and starving, and even though in the waking state the food is on the table there, but in the dream there is no food on the table, you are running all over searching, begging for the food all over. Therefore, for quenching the hunger in the dream, you need a dream food. For quenching the thirst in the dream, you need a dream water. The outside water will not help. for looking and going around in the dream, you need a dream sunlight. The outside zone is a dark, in the dark room where you are sleeping. So therefore, completely opposite also can be in the dream. But everywhere you have transactionally that is real, but scripture says that, and experience also says, what I saw there in the dream is not really real. Who says that? Not the dreamer. But the waker says that having understood that everything is only unreal, even though it was transactionally real. Same way, Veda says, even this world is transactionally real, but from the absolute reference on the higher order of reality, this is only not real, it's only apparently real, just as the dream world. For that, I need to have a Shraddha, because in the case of a dream, I am awakened to a different state. I can say, because that is gone, therefore I can say. Whereas in the case of waking state, I had recognized the unreality of the waking state while experiencing the waking state. That's where the difficult problem is. Therefore, Shraddha becomes very important. So, Paroksha Jnanam Ashraddha Pratibadnati. So, that becomes an obstacle. Itarat, that means for Aparoksha Jnanam, Avicharo Aparokshasya. For Aparoksha Jnanam, Avichara, not doing inquiry, Jnanasya Pratibandhanaha. For Aparoksha Jnanam, for not doing inquiry, because Mantavyaha Nididhyasitavyaha, that is not done, and therefore that becomes a Pratibandha, obstacle. So for Pratyaksha Pramana, for the Pratyaksha, the Paroksha Jnanam, indirect knowledge, the Shraddha is required. For Aparoksha Jnanam, Vichara is required. And if this becomes an obstacle for realization, we'll go into more details after we come back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.